Okay, Capricorn. Welcome, Capricorn. It is your weekly reading. It's also timeless. Tarot from Thursdays. I read for you, Capricorn. I have a sense this is relational. I guess you're going to gain a new perspective on a situation, on a person, I think. But we're reading from the Tarot of Curious Creatures. We'll be clarifying with the Wild Unknown. Lovely. Oh, look at that. We're moving away from, Six of Swords. Moving away from something turbulent and into a better place. We're moving into a better place. I had this song running through my head. It's actually from a band called The Darkness. It's a B-side too. It's not a popular song, but seeing the world through different eyes. Anyway, you're seeing the world through different eyes, perhaps. Or I'm totally wrong, but who knows? Anyway, welcome. Let's get into it right now. This feels relational, though. Right out of the gate. Yeah. All right, let's get into it. We've got the Five of Wands. Conflict between two people. You see that? In this deck, specifically, all four of the five wands are aligned, and they're standing on them. You see that? It's like they're standing on their relationship with one another, but then that fifth wand, there's a tug of war. We've got the Knight of Swords. Oh, this is interesting. Knight of Swords. There's hasty decisions, hasty actions here. And the Six of Cups. Long term, this is something that goes back a ways. Somebody's made a hasty decision in a long-term circumstance. There we go. Underlying the deck is the Six of Swords. The Six of Swords. Yeah. Underlying the deck is the Six of Swords. Okay, Capricorn. What's interesting, though, in this Six of Swords, we have the tortoise and the hare. And the hare is sort of sitting there with their luggage waiting to catch a ride. So the turtle, the tortoise is actually going to be like the shaman, or the shaman? It's going to be the shaman. The person that takes you through that journey is like the person that you are ahead of, in a sense. Or you might be the tortoise. I don't know if you're the tortoise or the hare yet. Let's get into it. Okay. All right, Capricorn. All right, Capricorn. Let's get the Five of Wands clarified for you. We've got the King of Swords, or the Father of Swords here. Mastery of communication and logic and rational thinking. I think of, and maybe the timing is funny, I guess, in light of certain circumstances, but I think of the King of Swords as a judge, an impartial judge that can uphold the letter of the law. So think of it that way. Not emotionally connected. Not emotionally attached. Not letting the emotions dictate their communication and their reasoning skills. Then we have the Seven of Pentacles. There's an assessment, of is the juice worth the squeeze and all that. A reflective energy looking back on where you've come from and where you're going. And then we have the Ten of Cups. I feel like you're kind of looking at the past situation. I think you're taking stock, like, was this relationship or this thing the thing that really made me happy? Like, truly made me happy? Was it actually my happiness, Or was it something else? Did I just want to believe it was my happiness? Underlying the deck is a High Priestess. I think that, like, your intuition is calling here. Your intuition is asking to have a place at the table. And some people might feel like the King of Swords and the High Priestess would be at odds. But I don't think so, because intuition can be approached without emotion. when you get intuitive hits, they can be emotive. They can be very emotional. Sometimes I feel, I'll feel I'll feel pain, I'll feel whatever, or happiness or whatever it is. But I can then sort of remove myself from that in a sense and look at it in a more analytical mindset. So they don't have to be at odds with each other necessarily. They can work together. And maybe it's like this person, whatever, it's like you don't have to be at odds. You could work with their attributes that are like wildly different than yours, right? All right. So regarding the Knight of Swords, we have Death and the World. These two cards together is insane because this is the end of the major arcana. This is like literally you've completed a major, major, major cycle in your life, and it's on to something new. Death is an ending leading to rebirth. Death is literally the card of transformation. So there is a transformative energy here. And then we have the Six of Swords. Yes, again, the Six of Swords, the third time. You're moving forward. You're moving away from something. You're done with it. You're releasing it, I think. But this is also physical travel. Like you could literally be traveling to get away from whatever this is when it's finally said and done. It doesn't have to be, but especially being being a minor arcana card, it doesn't have to be like a substantive implication on your life. Sorry, it's really hot in here, by the way. But with these other two cards, it's like motion and forward movement, moving you away from something and towards something else. With these two cards of like brilliant transformation, Capricorn, I feel like you've graduated something. You kind of recognize that you're not going to settle for stupid stuff. You're not going to settle. I mean, because why? Why would you? Why would you settle for stupid stuff? And that Knight of Swords is so hasty. So, like, some hasty decision has been made, and it really closed a cycle out for you in a sense. I don't know that it was your hasty decision. It may have been, but that feels like the other person, but it's been to your benefit. Yeah, I'm just going to expose my bald head here. I don't care. It's hot. I'm sorry. I'm late today in the van, and it's getting quite toasty, so I would love to get out of this van, but I'm going to try to give you my full attention in the meantime, Capricorn. So, anyway, I feel like this is because of like Death in the World, especially the World card. It's like that actually comes after Judgment, and Judgment is sort of like the divine intervention, right? It's sort of the final boss of the major arcana before you go into the resolve of the world. And so this feels divinely appointed. This situation feels divinely appointed. And I don't know that, I don't think there's any, for some of you, there may not be a physical ending to this yet, but maybe it's like on the mind, it's maybe something that's like pulling at you a little bit in some way. I don't know. Regarding the Six of Cups, we have the Mother of Cups or the Queen of Cups. This is a very highly intuitive queen. She's sort of on par with the High Priestess in the sense of her intuition, but also very nurturing. Of course, this is like a very motherly energy. I say this all the time, but this is like representing your heart space from the aspect of a healthy space, not a shadow space, but a healthy space, a fully developed heart space that can love and give and care for other people, and I believe many of you have that, of course, which can make it very difficult when you're talking about something like this. If you're still with a person and maybe you're thinking about calling it quits, maybe you're thinking about moving on here, because you're recognizing the fact that it isn't the Ten of Cups that you thought it would be. You're being honest with yourself about it. With the King of Swords, you're being forthright with yourself and rational and recognizing that no, maybe there's no future here. But it's hard because that's paired with your other energy here of nurturing, right? Okay. We have the Three of Pentacles, the Page of Swords, and the Emperor here. The Page of Swords is a defensive energy, typically in the Rider-Waite. It's like the security guard of the tarot. You're defending. It's about boundaries, right? Expressing a boundary. This Page of Swords is kind of interesting. It's sort of a less mature owl, in a sense. I think there's a desire to express an interest in boundaries, or to express to be communicative. Like, I feel like with the King of Swords over here, and that like mastery of logic and rationale and everything, I feel like maybe the component of like you can see it clearly or hear it clearly within your own head, but then trying to express that to other people is a bit blunted. So you're coming across as a bit of the Page of Swords, where you have the message to deliver, but maybe it's not coming out the way that you want, right? So there's a bit of a disconnect between how people are hearing you versus what you're meaning to convey. I think it's a big task. It's a big task, because it also requires of the other person to actually listen to you carefully, right? If somebody actually gives a shit, if somebody actually cares, they are going to try to listen to you, even if they recognize, even if your personalities are wildly different, right? If you're just polar opposite ends of the spectrum on personality, anybody who actually cares is going to take the time to recognize that, and then listen through that filter, through that lens, like see you through the lens of who you are. If people aren't willing to do that, then they don't actually care. And that's just the fact of the matter. It can be difficult. It does require, this is a card of collaboration about a big project, typically, like in the very flyover way. But this mountain has to do with you and the other person connecting and like coordinating your efforts, in a sense. I don't think that's happening. I feel like that's not happening. And maybe it's because the other person is just in their own dominion, like they are the boss, the Emperor is like, they're the boss, and you really can't tell them how it's going to be because they're going to do it how they do it, and that's all there is to it. This is an interesting Emperor card. Notice the sun is eclipsed. The sun is eclipsed by the moon here, and the sun is a card of masculine energy, and the moon, the imagery, the sun is a masculine image, and the moon is a feminine image in the energetic sense. And so they're not in balance here. The Emperor is not in balance because not only is his light not shining because of the conflict or because of the obstruction from the feminine, but the feminine isn't shining either because she's not being receptive and reflective of the masculine energy. So there is a disconnect here. And that's not a way I would normally interpret this card. This Emperor is this is a powerful individual, and this could be even an aspect of your own energy. It doesn't have to be yours, but I'm not going to say who's who in this thing, but I feel like this is kind of what I was speaking to. It's like that inability to hear. So does that mean they or you is being so assertive that you're not actually hearing the response? Like, I would say, like, what aspect of your feminine and masculine is out of balance? Because we all have all of it, right? It's not about a gender role or anything like that. It's just like our masculine energy and our feminine energy need to be in a harmony, like in the yin yang, right? If they're not, things don't work as well. And it can be internally, interpersonally, like as an individual, or as you counteract with a counterpart, or interact with a counterpart, excuse me. So something's out of whack there. And I feel like, again, like I was saying, it's like, I think conceptually you're seeing things very clearly, but something is not being communicated correctly. That Page of Swords is saying something's not being communicated correctly. Underlying the deck is the Four of Wands. So the celebration, the happiness, the harmony. This is the 1111 card. It's sort of about two people coming together, right? And creating a space like that. Those four wands intersect into that portal. And I think what is in the way of that harmony is an inability to see eye to eye on something, because somebody, I feel like, and maybe it's both, somebody can't see things from a different perspective, see the world through different eyes, and somebody else can't seemingly they feel like they can't get their point across. So it may be a listening problem, it may be a speaking problem, it's probably both, and it probably belongs to both parties, right? I'm not here to blame somebody else for anything in your life, Capricorn, or vice versa, right? I mean, I'm just not into that. That kind of tarot where it's like, this sumbitch is a sumbitch. It's like, no, maybe. Yeah, there are people who are jerks out there, of course, but is that everybody's story, really? That somebody did you wrong and you're always the victim? Like, no. We know better than that. I hope we know better than that. We know better than that. All right, Capricorn, 4 of Cups is your potential outcome to start with here. Queen of Cups is on the bottom. That's interesting because we had that come up earlier. Did we? Or was that another reading? Forgive me, guys. It's really hot, and I'm ready to call it a day in this van, dude. It's getting warm out here. Anyway, we got the 4 of Cups. So there is an opportunity presenting itself, but nobody's looking. Nobody's listening. Nobody's looking. Nobody's listening. All right. Oh, that's frustrating. That's a frustrating energy. I'm not gonna lie. My heart goes out to you because I know you're feeling that frustration too. Yeah. All right. We got the 9 of Cups. Okay. That happiness, that harmony, that personal satisfaction, right? This is a card of being contented with oneself. So I think it's sort of suggesting that maybe the other person isn't the problem so much. Maybe it's like, or that you could just you could focus on your own happiness when you're at an impasse with the conflict with the other person. And then we've got Temperance. This is great. Now the Temperance here, it's a little bit of a deviation from the standard, Rider-Waite-Smith, but no water is lost, is what I want to say. No water is lost here. Normally, the water is being poured from one cup into another. There's no loss of water, which means the emotional support is in balance. This speaks to two people. There are two people here in a sense, in that there are two energetically the water of the hearts. The green is the heart space, and the blue is the throat. So the communication of love keeps that water flowing, and no water is lost. And that's the key to your problem, Capricorn. Expressing your heart and communicating that is the key to finding a way past the barrier, past the conflict. Underlying the deck. Oops. Okay, well, I have a spare card here. It didn't want to come with me. So we have the 8 of Wands here. All 8 wands are oriented in the same direction and moving towards the same thing. And look at now the tortoise is in a full sprint. You remember we had the tortoise and the hare at the beginning with the Six of Swords? Now the tortoise is in a full sprint because everything energetically is aligned and it's moving quickly in a positive direction, I might add. The Eight of Wands is a very positive card. So I feel like the resolve is available to you and you have an opportunity to move past the conflict. As simple as that. Capricorn, on the bottom of the deck, we have the Devil. This is one of your cards, by the way, Capricorn, and don't take offense, don't be upset. Ugh. You're a goat fish. I know that Capricorn's emotions run deep, but they are sort of behind a paywall. Not a paywall, a firewall. Not a paywall. That's kind of a weird way to say it. In a sense, though, people have to invest in you, and you there's more to you behind veil. Okay, I know this, but don't if this is a situation like what am I trying to say here? I kind of feel like, Capricorn, you probably need to make yourself a little more vulnerable. Don't be so stubborn and obstinate about being right about this right about this circumstance, perhaps. That Emperor energy, that might be you. That might be part of your energy. And no offense, of course, don't, take it as it resonates. But sometimes in order to resolve a conflict, we have to learn to listen. We have to learn to listen. And we have to be motivated to do so by our heart, by our heart space, that green water, that heart chakra energy. And then learn to reciprocate in kind with the throat, speaking clearly. And I know that's a shadow of this whole thing because we had that Page of Swords here. It's like the communication is not coming through the way you want. If it's not coming through the way you want, do your best job to listen. And maybe that will help guide. And also recognize that your opportunity to be happy, or your potential for happiness, is just within you as an individual. And I know that's such a freaking cop-out in life. I'm not telling you to ignore all your problems and just be happy, because I'm not stupid. I know better than that. But I would say more like this: as an individual, to feel and acknowledge and honor all of your feelings. So you don't have to just be happy. If you are sad, give yourself the space to feel what you're feeling and then try to understand why. So maybe in a lot of ways, this message has to do with you learning to listen to your own intuition to sort of clear some of that cognitive dissonance. And that will pour over into other aspects of your life anyway, into relationships, whatever. So, wow, Capricorn, that's what I have for you. Thank you for being here. If this resonated and you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. Best of luck with this energy. This is big. This is big energy, and I have a tremendous amount of respect for any one of you that is going to take this on and try to expand your heart and expand your throat and expand your ears, to interact with anybody in a more authentic way and sort of learn how to resolve those conflicts. I think that's very commendable in this world, and we need so much more of that. So if you're on board with this, thank you so much. I respect the hell out of it. And I hope to see you next week, Capricorn. Terra Firma Thursdays every Thursday for you. Until then, take care.